Alright, we're recording.
All
And I
right.
can cut if we need to.
Okay, great. Andrew, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
All right. Yeah.
And I am ready to take notes.
All right, you want to kick us off, Andrew?
Yeah. Hans, are you at the login screen for the application?
Oh, I'm sorry, you're not gonna share this out.
So I'm sorry. Say that again.
I thought somebody was gonna share their screen and show.
Yeah, we will. It's gonna have to be, Larry, because he's got the
Okay,
best
I'll do it.
internet.
I didn't know it had to be me.
Well,
Let me
yeah.
try.
Andy, do you have a different mic?
What's that?
Do you have a different mic?
What do you mean?
There's a lot of feedback.
I don't believe so. Let's see. Let me check something real quick. I'm gonna need my mic.
Okay. I don't know about you guys, but it was just really loud.
No, it was. It's all right.
Okay.
I'm downloading it, guys, right now.
Okay. Do you have the PowerPoint ready?
I can be right on it.
Okay.
I'll do that while it's downloading.
Alright. I'm glad you have good internets.
Yeah. I'm glad I went ahead and put it in. All right. Okay, I got it open. Let me.
So can you guys hear me? Is it still static?
It's better. It's much better.
Okay.
It was kind of roaring at us there.
Yeah, I checked the port on the back just to make sure it was plugged in all the way.
All right, where do I share my screen again, guys?
So there's a little plus button beside the microphone, and
Oh, yeah.
yeah. And you can, instead of sharing screen, you can share a specific like window, and it'll make it bigger.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, what do you guys see right now? Oh, wait, I haven't started it.
There you go.
All right.
Alright. I see
Gotta
that
turn
you're
off all
using
the-
Internet Explorer.
Sorry, Opera's not updated yet.
Okay, I can see it.
All right, let me make it big for you.
You might have to close the little thingy from Skype.
Yes, and share. All right, let me share. Let me do the presentation first. Where's present on this? Oh, there it is.
It's for the share, yeah.
Okay. Now,
Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okie doke.
All right, so this is the final design document. We'll go ahead and get started with the overview. Andy, do you know, are you doing this one?
I can.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Seth.
Sorry.
Yeah. As you already know, Hans, our project is to create a functional working database to work as the beginnings of a database for you guys, and the audience that we're developing for is just an administrator, since our front end's not that important.
Okay, and after talking to Professor Caudill, we've decided that we need to meet more often. We are going to be making the back end with Microsoft SQL Server 2014, and I'm pretty sure you said that was okay to go along with your MySQL that you use for work. We have finished creating the front end.
So I
using
think there was
Visual.
actually some confusion. I don't like MySQL.
Okay.
I prefer MS SQL.
Okay, so then 2014 will be fine then. Okay, then we will be using, which it's already created, the application front end overlay using Visual Basic, or Visual Studio as the case to one, the Visual Basic because of the language. And we've also completed meetings to begin modeling with the database. I believe that was Larry and Casey that got together to work on that. And like you had said earlier, when we met you last time, that you want to be kind of kept in the loop more often. So we're going to plan on upping the meetings with you during the course of the next semester to make sure that what we're doing is compliant to what you want and to meet the needs that you request. And we've also completed the final design and the prototype delivery, which is the application we created that they're going to be showing you here in just a few minutes. And we are on schedule for functional report delivery, and we are in progress with you and us for the project.
Okay. That was the end of what we were going to use, right?
No, not actually. It's not.
Okay.
I can go ahead and take this one since Casey hadn't got with us yet.
All right.
This is the basic design, of course. I know you're not too interested in it, Hans, but we're going to start with a splash screen that's going to be a login form. Then it's going to take you to a main menu here, even though we call it task selection, I know. From there, you'll be able to choose one of 4 buttons, and each one of them will take you to a corresponding screen by coach, player, or team, and they'll all ask you the same questions, which will then generate a Microsoft Word export document. All right, now we can go ahead and start. I'll go ahead and bring up the other, and it'll, hopefully, this is what it will look like when I bring it up.
Yeah, you should just have to click it. I tested it out on mine.
Okay, so I need to unzip it?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it said the folder was empty, and I was about to be like, it's broken. It didn't work. All hope is lost.
Alright, let's see. What do we call it? Which one?
uh,
I know I put it in
it's
downloads.
CSC 400 capstone ...
Maybe it didn't download. Let's see. It says it's trying to connect.
Okay, well, it's on the Google Drive as well.
Perfect. Alright. You get to see all my stuff? And where would it be at on Google Drive, ma'am?
In our folder.
Oh, okay. This one?
Yep. Hans, were you able to download that? The prototype?
Let me see if it completed. Yeah, it looks like it finished downloading.
Alright, good. We wanted to make sure that you had that in case you wanted to look at things later.
All right, you ready?
Yep, go for it.
Oh no, it's a virus. Windows is trying to
Yep.
protect you, bro.
Be
Oh,
careful.
Really?
Just do more info, yeah.
Yeah, run anyway. I always forget that that's what I have to do on the new system, which is really dumb. Okay, we are up and running.
And it's username and password as the username and password.
Like so?
Yep.
All right, you tell me what
Well,
to do.
but before we go to the next page, let's talk about some of the requirements that will be necessary for the login and the password that we had written in our documentation. So with the username, we're going with a static generation. It's not going to be anything that the user's not going to get to pick their username and password. It's just going to be their last name, first name, and then an ID number.
Well,
And
this
the ID
this
number.
is just for the administrator.
Oh yeah. That's right.
The other is just going to be stored.
Okay. Okay. Well, then never mind then.
Yeah. So as long as it's okay that this is hard coded, I don't know how much you guys would be using it, Hans, but we were just planning on hard coding it.
I mean, a login system could be useful. It's something we're working on right now, but
Okay.
is it going to be plain text? Because that's probably not a good idea.
Well, one of the things we were actually talking about, Casey and I, were using Microsoft SQL Server's authentication. Because then you'll be right there. You will have physical contact with it and be able to log in, and you won't be able to log in off-site. But that can be added later with Windows authentication. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I don't know if that's. I mean, if you guys want to do that, you can. I don't know if that's maybe right for us, but it's certainly something you can consider.
Now we can mask it, or I mean, we are still open to those ideas.
I mean, honestly, for this to be useful for me, it'd have to be kind of an independent login system that writes to a database table, and then kind of encrypts and salts the password.
Right. That may actually be a little beyond our scope on that part.
Okay, I thought it was part of the scope that we had discussed earlier. But
Okay, we will definitely review that.
Yeah, I just made a note of that.
Okay, and we will get back with you on that very soon. All right.
Well, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it very soon because we're doing exams and then we're done.
Yeah, that's
So
fine.
is that
We'll talk about it early next year.
all right? Okay.
Okay, if that's okay, I'd be willing to work on it, but okay. All right, next. You guys ready for me to press on?
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Here is the main menu. We did call it task selection. We can rename it if you feel there's something better. You have, like we showed in the flow chart there, the add, update, delete a player, view statistics. Of course, we can add buttons, take away buttons. I know you only see player here, but we'll also have team and coach, even though you won't really be adding a team. There's so few. But if you do get down to high school or any other sports, then you will actually need that button, which is no problem at all.
I'm not as concerned with teams. It's more of the coach and the fan.
Okay. All right. Then.
So
the-
we would need add coach here, but not
Yes.
add team.
Coach and I'm not quite sure where the team came from.
Okay.
It's coach and fan.
Yeah, we had looked ahead a little bit for the fans to be able to see anything by a team and associate that with a coach.
I'm not sure about what the team
Okay.
is. So a fan is not a fan of a team. A fan's a fan of a player. So say you're a football player, right?
Right.
And then your mom wants to be added as your fan,
Yes.
and then that gives her permissions, if you accept, to post pictures to your profile, to add video, to write comments.
Right. And that's actually where we got the idea of team from. Can they also view team statistics of how the team is doing? Yet your mom is a fan of yours and could be a fan of other players on the team, and they want to see how the entire team's doing. Or could we put that on one area of the player page?
Yeah, just one area of the player page. We're not as concerned with the. That might be something for like a phase 2 eventually that we'll get to, but
Yeah, we're just doing the back end.
you're right.
Larry.
Team performance overall, we're not. It's more of an individual stat.
Right. Okay. That comes in for within the database. We definitely know that we need to have a team column field marker, start and stop dates in case they change teams. So that still needs to be done.
I mean, I kind of see where you're coming from, but I don't think that's. I wouldn't get too hung up on the team aspect.
Right. Right.
Because this is high school, so these kids aren't going to be traded back and forth, and it's not as big of a deal. Even if you look at it as if, say, fantasy football, when you play fantasy football, you're not really concerned with the team performance, more so for the individual player.
True. Right. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and see what add a player does. Right here, all these fields are going to be required. Hopefully that makes sense because you're adding a brand new player.
It does. Do you have the minimum age of 13 check on there?
No, I don't.
We don't have any of the functionality. It's just the prototype, but I will make a note to make sure that that gets added.
No problem.
Thank you.
Mhm.
As you see, you're going to have a preloaded player position, and that can also be for the team, just to make it a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these will be data masked to not allow you to put in numbers. If you are a junior or a third or a fourth, they will be Roman numerals. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, just want to make sure. Of course, we can go back. Update. Right here, you're going to have the player ID and the last name. This is where it's going to be a little different because you can change the team, and that's why that's required. Or you can change that player's position. I know that it doesn't happen a lot.
How are you going to be searching for this for the update?
It would be player ID or player last name, correct?
Right, we're going to have the unique keys going to be should be the player ID and the last name.
Both?
Yeah, we're going to have a combined, as of what I thought, it can go off the player ID, it can by itself, but as a fallback, we can have player ID and last name. I know there shouldn't be two player IDs the same, I understand, I see that now.
That's why I was asking.
Yeah, thank you. That may have been before we came with the player ID and how that was going to be
Okay.
accomplished.
So in my notes, I would we want it to be update player ID or last name is what we're searching by, or not update the player ID.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay.
If the player ID is not found, then it'll go back and look for last name and first name.
So once you enter in what you want to search on, are you hitting update player and then it's loading?
That I don't know.
I think with Visual Basic it just autofills.
That's right. That's right. Because that's what Andrew had pointed out to me. Thank you.
Mhm. And so
Yeah,
when
so-
you make any changes, you click update player. That'll update it to the back end.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there is one concern that I did have with when we go to update a player's information. Obviously, there could be times where like a player could be in between teams, and that we're going to have to allow for the use of a null, I guess, to allow for a null value to be in like player team, or if like a player has started a new position and they don't currently have like a statistic like they go from being the quarterback to
So,
being
I say-
some.
When you guys
Go
say
ahead.
team, are you meaning high school? Because I thought what we had kind of talked about was you do it on the high school, and,
This
junior
in,
varsity.
yeah. In the short term, I guess it wouldn't technically, but in like the long term, you would have to. In projecting forward, you would have to worry like whether or not you can have a null use, like a null value for the team. Because I see what you're saying now. Because right now in the high school, they're obviously going to be on a team, so that value would be okay with not having a null in it now.
Maybe I missed something there.
I think I did too. Team is just a field, right? It's not anything. It's just a field that we're
It's
filling in the back end.
What
So-
is team?
This is where this team nomenclature. I'm not quite sure where it came from, guys.
Mhm.
It's kind of centered around the high school, and then the player.
Well, it'll be a high school name, like the Tornadoes or the Buccaneers. Something like that. And you can
Well,
have name
see,
it high school.
that's where I think maybe it should be more like St. Stephen's High School, or
Okay, so get rid of the team mantra and just go with it being high school instead,
Right.
or
play for a high school. There could be a million different Spartans across the nation.
true.
Right.
Like
So
you
we
can't tell.
actually need a naming convention. Is that what we're saying? Do we want to break it up by state and by?
What he's saying is that team is not a very is not a very finite descriptor for what team they play for. Because like he just said, there could be 1,000 Spartans at the high school level, or Team Tornado.
And I'm sure there are.
Yeah, it's high school. It's not
Okay.
really.
Let's put high school then. Let's replace player team with high school, and that's not very hard.
Yeah.
And either way, it's just a string, so it's not a big deal.
Right. All right. Any other questions, Hans, on this one?
No, go ahead.
Okay. All right. This one right here. This is delete player. It's never going to delete the player. It's just going to mark it as unseen, I guess. It's going to
Archive it essentially.
archive.
Yes.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. It is going to archive it. Everything will be on there. It'll be archived. It will not show up in any reports unless you run an archive report. This is also after when you hit delete player. Let me see what happens. I'm gonna have to restart the program. Yeah.
No, it's not connected.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
When you hit delete player, it will ask. It'll come up with a confirmation window. Kind of like Windows and everything. Are you sure? Are you really sure? And with this one, we did have it just on player ID.
Now, Hans, with this system, let's say that you're okay with the archiving concept. How long would you want? How long would you say would be the period of time where archive data would be kept, and then at what point would you remove archive data?
I'm not too worried about that because that would be the kind of thing that probably just could have a SQL job, stored procedure, run at an increment and just go remove records over a certain period of time.
All right, or you could roll it off to a save file and compress it and save it for forever.
Now, these player IDs, are these selected or is this an auto-generated number?
It should be generated, auto-generated,
I believe that's what we have written down. Yeah.
and I think it will lead with zeros. I can't remember how many number. I think it's five digits in length to begin with. Obviously, it could be more, but
So-
it will.
One thing to think about then maybe is if that's kind of like an auto-generated, almost like a primary key. You might want to have a username.
Okay.
Username as in,
Well, I mean, so if we think of this functionally, yes, right now we're talking about database design, but in order for this to be kind of a useful thing to be plugged into a web front end, someone's not going to remember 00536672 as their player ID.
okay, I gotcha.
A username, a handle.
Is there, yeah.
That could just be another field. So, well, we can kind of go over all this stuff, beginning of next year. I'm not trying to pick this apart. I'm just kind of, I definitely think that what you all said earlier, just kind of meeting a little bit closer together would probably be helpful.
Our professor said once a week with you is what she recommends.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Probably have to be, with something like this, but
Oh yeah, she said it was. She said it was fine if we like Skype call or if you just get on Skype with us and talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and hit back. I'm not sure if this button works yet. Oh, there
It
we go.
works, yeah.
That's right, it does bring it up. What it's going to do, Hans, when I click by player, of course, we'll take out the school or team if, we'll see about that. Hit
so
view by player, and this is where you're going to have your report run in however specified way we see it's going to look nice, it'll be more appealing, and of course, it'll be populated with players, and then there's your export button.
cool. So question: how are the statistics entered? Is that just going to be additional fields off of the add player or update player? Or
They are, unfortunately, right now, they're going to be SQL inserted. Or just get into the database and hand jam them in, unfortunately.
Well,
So
if that's something we need a screen for, we can just go ahead and design that.
Yeah, we can make the screen for it, thank you.
yeah, that'll. I think it probably would be a good exercise to have the screen for it.
Okay.
Just on the basis of might be kind of easy to overlook some design decisions if you're just kind of throwing it all into a backend database table. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
Oh, it does. It does. I know where we were coming from, and I agree with you. We're looking at just creating a minimum front end. But you're right. We should go ahead and have a place for input all the statistics. And
I
then,
think it's just because it's gonna help you to make sure you have everything joined correctly whenever you're linking. So maybe you don't want to just have like I don't know. Let me think about it.
Well, would you prefer to update the statistics from this screen where you're viewing the full report, or would you prefer to do that on the player screen when you're updating a player?
Player screen.
Okay.
Maybe even like a separate button.
I know exactly what we did, and that's why I needed Casey here. We did talk about this, and what I'll do is I'll move this up. When we entered player ID and update player, I think when we hit update player, it dropped another box down here with that information, and then you had a commit button.
Oh, in different frames.
Yes, you
Okay.
have this frame, and then it expands with another window down here,
Hmm.
and it only does it when you populate these fields and hit update, so it pulls the correct information and sets up the SQL updates.
Well, what might be cleaner and even easier than that is just to add another button underneath that says Update Statistics and pulls up just another screen for the same player with different fields. That way it's a little cleaner and you don't have to mess with frames.
I'm good with that. I'm good
Well,
with it.
We'll leave that to our designer, unless you have a preference, Hans.
No, it's fine, guys.
I believe we had it set to where that when you guys are talking about updating the fields and stuff, like, is it not set right now to where if you were, I noticed that Larry, when you clicked on the player position, that it's blank, but it was supposed to generate. Casey had talked about having the functionality to generate the fields that pertain to that actual position.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a pre-pop. Yeah, we can. All it is pulling from a table, so you can only select from that table. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll have to go back. Alright, and then that's pretty much it for the prototype, but I have the notes. Oh, I'm sorry about that, that's my phone. I have the notes for what we'll need to update.
Okay, and one last thing, I think just add like a maybe underneath the player position. So two things: it might be possible for a player to play multiple positions.
Okay.
So that's something to add, and then junior varsity or varsity.
Okay, so with I know you'd mentioned before the playing the multiple positions at one time. With putting data into those fields, like let's say there's a statistic that overlaps. So we'll have, I don't know, there may be two positions that have like a rushing yard statistic. How would, I guess we would have to
Oh, I know how to do that.
create a separate statistic table for like additional positions.
No, you just add another column in your main table.
Well, but guys, if you think about this from a database design perspective, you would have maybe a position table that like primary key 1 is quarterback, primary key 2 is running back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you have multiple columns in your player that link across,
Well, I get that, but would you attribute all the yards between both positions? I guess because I guess they could play offense and defense at the same time. So I guess you could say that those are the same statistic.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have someone's a quarterback and a running back.
Yeah,
right.
but if we add additional positions, they can have the same. They can play both in the same game, and you will update them separately. So if they run 10 yards, you put 10 yards in as the running back. If they pass 50 yards, you put past 50 yards as the quarterback.
Right. So I'm thinking that's probably at least 3 or 4 separate tables.
Right, and I see how to go with that. I understand that part.
But I mean, so yes, that's the weirdest case scenario where maybe some quarterback gets hurt, so the running back comes up and becomes quarterback. But yeah, that flexibility needs to be in there to have that separate.
Well, you always have, on high school teams, your kick returners are going to be offense, running backs, or tight ends, something.
Right.
Okay, you guys, Casey texted me. He said he just now got off of work, so he's probably not going to be here before we're done. Just
Okay.
so everyone knows.
We'll make him call Hans later.
We'll make him answer to Professor Caudill. Okay.
Yeah, so looking forward now, we see prototype is some good groundwork, right?
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely. You guys
that's-
have done a good job.
Okay. And we know what we need to accomplish now for some changes.
Should we go ahead and try to set a time, or at least get some times ready for, a set meeting for every week next semester?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. For the first, do you guys prefer weekdays or weekends?
Weekdays are better for me, really, to be honest.
Okay, so up until about either the beginning of March or late March, I'll be working from home consistently on Mondays and Thursdays. Makes it a bit easier for me just to kind of roll into a Skype meeting, or if we need to have a face-to-face to do that.
Mondays are not good for me.
Me
I work-
either.
Yeah, I work from like 9 at night to 6 in the morning on Mondays.
Oh,
What about
goodness.
Thursday?
Thursday was our backup meeting time, so we should all be good for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fine then. Mondays and Thursdays, I'm always going to be working from home
All right.
until late in March. So if you just want to have a rolling Thursday meeting, and then we can just cancel it if we need to,
Okay.
or if there's nothing to talk about.
Well, is 9:30 fine with you? Because it is kind of late. I know you do work. You get up kind of early to go to work. So you drive to Charlotte. So we normally do 9:30 for our meeting. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. And our group meetings will be Wednesdays at 9:30. And she recommended that we add another one, so maybe we'll try to do, I don't know. I guess we could try for Fridays. We'll see how that last one goes. If we've got things done from Thursday to Friday.
If it's just like a Skype meeting, I could do Saturday and Sunday, but it would just be later in the. It would need to be
Yeah.
like 9.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, Fridays are not good for me, guys. I got 6 kids here.
Right.
So
I could do Sundays.
I can do Sunday.
I can
Yeah,
occasionally
I'd be
do
fine with Sunday at
Saturdays, but
9:30.
yeah, okay. I'll go ahead and write that down.
Okay.
And that might be it for this. We might be done. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't have any.
Do you have any other questions, or do you have any other kind of comments, notes?
No, I
You-
think we're good for now. Just you guys have a good Christmas break, okay?
Thanks, you too.
Yeah,
Thanks, sir.
You'll have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right.